this is starting to look really good. I'm really liking how it's starting to play out. So the whole goal is, right in this whole section right here is gonna be dwarf hairgrass. So here's the dwarf hairgrass. I bought one patch like 4 or 5 months ago, and I sprinkled it through here, and it has completely covered this whole container. Now there is a gap missing right here. That used to be all dwarf hairgrass as well, but I actually sold this strip. So essentially already recouped the cost of my dwarf hairgrass of my initial investment. And now I get all this to work with. So a big old patch is gonna go right here in this front section. And I think it's gonna look so good. I don't have to wait for the carpet to grow because I already did the waiting 3 or 4 months ago. So we're gonna have dwarf hairgrass here in the front. Now this is gonna be like a sand bank that kind of goes up. Sand and this rock is gonna help secure this piece of wood where it's at. And up here is gonna be a land section for painted begonia, parlor palm, some miniature fern, spider plant, all those plants that like to get his feet wet, so that it really has that explosive plant growth that comes out of the tank. Guys, this is starting to look really good. Here's gonna be the dwarf hairgrass area, and then it steeps up to where I have a little planting area, and that driftwood popping off the top looks great. Now the key to doing a really steep embankment like this is you gotta have a lot of support rock. Otherwise, all of this is just gonna slide down and the scape's gonna be ruined. So did I do it correctly? I hope so, but at the end of the day, there's only one way to find out. We gotta fill it up with water. And I actually wanna fill it up with water and test it before I put the dwarf hairgrass in, because if this whole slope just slides down, you know, I don't wanna ruin all my plants, the dwarf hairgrass I'm putting in there. So we're gonna fill this thing up, give it the old slope test, and if it holds, then we'll drain it and put the dwarf hairgrass in. Guys, it seems to be holding up. We'll tap on it a little bit. Guys, I think we're good to go. Just to make extra sure that nothing's gonna happen and that this slope won't wipe everything out, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it here for about 10 minutes, let everything settle. I'm gonna come back, and if we're still good to go, we're gonna drain the water and put the dwarf hairgrass in. While we're waiting, let me show you what plants we're gonna use. We're gonna use this parlor palm. This is gonna look really good, and it's okay if it has the roots wet. We're also gonna use some painted begonia. I have some in the garage, just like this. This spider plant, I've never tried this growing out of water before, but I read that it's a-okay if it has its roots wet, so we're gonna give that one a try as well. And then I have an assortment of plants over here that we're gonna play with. And then of course we have the different types of pothos. We probably will give that a try as well, just to have a good viney look. It's been over 15 minutes and we're still looking good. So I'm gonna go ahead and drain this water. We're gonna put the dwarf hairgrass in, and then we're gonna plant all the plants that come out top. All right, water is drained. Let's go ahead and put the dwarf hairgrass in. So we'll probably just scoop it out like it's a slice of cake. I'm probably gonna use a spatula, don't tell my wife, and then we'll just put it right here. Okay, so we're actually gonna use my grill spatula, mainly because it's bigger, right? It's like almost the size of this plop of dwarf hairgrass anyways. Look at this slice of dwarf hairgrass. Oh, you can see the root system growing. This thing's pretty heavy too. All right, let's see if we can get in here without knocking anything over. Guys, is that not absolutely beautiful? Oh, it's so lush and green, and it really pops against that white sand. Now what I'm gonna do to blend everything together, I'm gonna sprinkle some white sand over the top just to have a cap over that dirt so the dirt doesn't go and mud up all the water. And then I'm gonna push the sand down on the side so that you can't see the dirt, so it just looks like it's sand and just one substrate all the way across. And then I think we'll be looking pretty good. So we're starting to run out of planting room, so I think I'm going to get a piece of driftwood or two to go right here just to add some texture along these rocks, and more importantly to act as a shelf to kind of hold more plants. Starting to look really good. I think it needs a little bit more going along this driftwood here, so I think I have the perfect plant. So along that piece of driftwood traveling up is going to be some of this inch plant. I made sure to include some of the root. This is gonna hang down in the water, and that's how it's gonna get all its nutrients. So I do have the same system of this same plant doing the same thing in my other setup right here. And it's doing essentially the same thing, where just the roots are in the water, and it's doing very well. Alright guys, the scape is starting to look really good. I did make a few adjustments. I took out some of the sand here because there was sand wall that just came all the way through here. And so this much sand was just blocking your view from the rest of the scape. So I kind of angled it, instead of being flat, I kind of angled it like that. And that way it doesn't feel like it's just blocking your view. I had to take a spoon and I just spoon scooped it out until it looked pretty good. After that, I added in some Java fern, but it still feels like it's missing something, right? And I think I know what it is, right? We go from dwarf hairgrass to this rocky slope, but it just happens so suddenly. There's no transition between the two. So I think I'm gonna have to add a few stones, smaller stones that go into the dwarf hairgrass, just so it's more smooth transition. I think that's looking so much better now that we rearranged that. The rock is uplifted just a little bit. I think it's a smoother transition now. I think now these gaps, I was thinking about sand, but I think I may have too much sand, so I'm gonna go ahead and use these drainage stones and just drop them in here just to have some filler space and see what it looks like. This is looking a lot better. It's more cohesive. There's a better transition. I feel like we still need to do a transition from grass to rock, but the fact that this is more sloped and a little bit lifted, it's a little bit smoother now. Now, I wasn't sure about adding two different types of rocks, but I think it makes sense. This looks like a rocky hill, and there's smaller rocks, there's larger rocks. It adds those details without just covering it with sand. So I think I'm liking that. I'm gonna plant the Java fern back in here, and I think we should be very close to being done. And that wraps up today's video, guys. If you want to support the channel, make sure to hit that like button and make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.